But there's new revelations, brothers and sisters, that raise disturbing questions about who he crossed, what he refused, and why he became so afraid in the final weeks of his life.
This is the Publisher's Desk with Damon K. Jones, brought to you by Black Westchester Magazine, where life, culture, community, and faith meet truth, power, and purpose.
Peace and blessings, everybody, and welcome back to the Publisher's Desk. And I'm Black Westchester Magazine publisher Damon K. Jones of blackwestchester.com. And today, we're going to talk about a breaking report from the Gray Zone. And it's about Charlie Kirk. Now, we all know Charlie Kirk was a rising star in conservative youth politics. And he was taken out from this world, unfortunately, in front of his family, in front of a big crowd. But there's new revelations, brothers and sisters, that raise disturbing questions about who he crossed, what he refused, and why he became so afraid in the final weeks of his life. Charlie Kirk, once the rising star of conservative youth politics, is no longer with us. But new revelations has raised disturbing questions about what he refused and why he became afraid in the final weeks of his life. According to a report by the Gray Zone, a Trump insider and long-term friend says that Kirk rejected direct funding from Benjamin Netanyahu himself. And what followed was a campaign of intimidation that left him shaken. According to this article by Gray Zone, earlier this year, Kirk refused a proposal from Netanyahu to funnel millions of dollars into Turning Point USA. His friend says that Kirk believed this wasn't generosity, it was a leash that meant to silence him as he began questioning the stranglehold of Israeli influence in Washington, D.C. The rejection marked a turning point. In private, Kirk described Netanyahu as a bully. He became disgusted by what he saw inside the Trump administration. Netanyahu dictating personal choices. Billionaire donors like Miriam Alderson shaping U.S. policy and American sovereignty being compromised in real time.
And Jewish donors, they have a lot of explaining to do, a lot of decoupling to do, because Jewish donors have been the number one funding mechanism of radical, open border, neoliberal, quasi-Marxist policies, cultural institutions, and nonprofits. This is a beast created by secular Jews. And now it's coming for Jews, and they're like, what on earth happened? And it's not just the colleges. It's the nonprofits, it's the movies, it's Hollywood, it's all of it. It's like time for you guys to wake up and say no more, draw a line in the sand. I don't care if you hate me.
In June, Kirk directly warned Trump against bombing Iran on Israel's behalf. The response? Trump snapped at him, barking angrily before shutting him down. For Kirk, that moment was confirmed his worst fears. The president of the United States was no longer in control. A foreign power was. From then on, the pressure mounted, according to the report. Kirk's friend says Netanyahu allies unleashed a private campaign of fury, branding Kirk as a traitor to their cause. By July, he admitted he was afraid.
I visit Israel and fight for it. And there's another article out in the Times of Israel today. I could read it on air. I was just reading before I got on. Charlie, what are you doing? Like, why are you? What am I doing? I'm sorry. Like, let's just take a step back here. Like, I'm an American citizen. Yes, I want Israel to win. Yes, I'm a Christian. But like, some of the mess, and you've seen how I've been treated, Megan, by some, not all, by some.
No, it's very irritating.
It's
been
almost
so
as
unfair. They were coming after you after Turning Point for, among other things, that you had Dave Smith there. Dave Smith is allowed to criticize Israel. You had both sides. The Israeli side was overrepresented.
No, you're not allowed to. It's even worse than that. Again, I just want to repeat for the 5th time. I love Israel. I want Israel to win. But my moral character is now being put into question, Megan. Not my decisions. Not like, hey, are you doing this? Is it smart or is it dumb? But no, I am a bad person if I do this. And I could go, you saw it, Megan. It was trending on Twitter, thousands of tweets and text messages. And if I were to be charitable and generous, I will say the people that are attacking me are in a hyper paranoid state because they're at war, and war tends to make things black and white. And you're a hammer looking for a nail. So I'm trying to be charitable, Megan. Literally, I'm trying to cut as much slack as I can, right?
Kirk's entire career have been built on Zionist donations. From the age of 18, money flowed through neoconservative networks to Turning Point USA. He repaid it with speeches attacking Palestinians, propaganda tips to Israel, and silencing dissent within his organization. But Gaza changed everything. As Israel unleashed devastation, a new mood swept through the younger conservatives. Only 24% of Republicans under 13 sided with Israel over Palestinians. Kirk could feel his own base slipping. As Turning Point USA's Student Action Summit this July, the anger erupted on stage. Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, and even anti-Zionist comedian Dave Smith blasted Israel's assault on Gaza, raising questions about Jeffrey Epstein's ties to Israeli intelligence and mocked Zionist billionaires. Kirk didn't stop it. He let it happen.
And you have a right to expect that your government will not act against your interests, and you have a right to demand that foreign governments not be allowed to act against your interest. That's not creepy. It shouldn't be forbidden. And yet all of us have trained ourselves to believe that you can't say that somehow, that that's like too naughty and forbidden. And the effect of making that off limits has been to create a lot of resentment, and I'll say it, hate online, where people feel like they can't just say, like, what the hell is this? You have the former Israeli prime minister living in your house. You have had all this contact with the foreign government. Were you working on behalf of Mossad? Were you running a blackmail operation on behalf of foreign government? By the way, every single person in Washington, D.C. thinks that. I've never met anyone who doesn't think that. I don't know any of them that hate Israel, but no one feels they can say that. Why? And I think the longer that we play along with it, the more subterranean and creepy and hateful the conversation actually becomes. So I think it's better just to say it right out loud. Did this happen? And of course, that question has been asked to the government of Israel, and their answer is, we're not going to tell you. And I think our answer should be, no. As long as we're sending you money, if you were committing crimes on our soil, we have an absolute right to know, did you do this or not? And yet everybody has been so brainwashed into thinking that's somehow an expression of hate or bigotry, when it's not. It's a baseline question that every U.S. citizen has a right to an answer on. What the hell was this? And by the way, if it turns out that it was nothing at all, that somehow Jeffrey Epstein really did earn $165 million giving tax advice to somebody, which is, for the record, a lot more than most people pay their accountants, and that none of this was actually a foreign intel operation, and that there was no blackmail involved, that actually Bill Gates was just hanging on the island because the weather was especially good. No one was videotaped doing anything immoral or illegal, and then that was used against them to get them to obey. If all of that is false, then just tell me how it's false.
He began as a young conservative built by Zionist donors, but by the end, he was a man who rejected their money, defied their demands, and feared for his life. And this is why I tell Black Americans, this is not your fight.
Wouldn't be surprised one bit. I am convinced, based on my own sources and my own reporting on this story, he wasn't one of ours.
So he was an American, which leads basically three options: MI6, Saudi, or Mossad.
Yep.
Which one would you choose?
I guess Mossad, given his connection to Ghislaine Maxwell.
So what does that mean?
Well, I mean, it's possible that that's the reason everything's getting buried, that there is some treasure trove and it's getting buried because...
How many people here believe that? Raise your hand. Okay, I'd say about half the hands think that it's being buried because of an Israeli thing.
In one of Kirk's final interviews with Israel's premier influencer in the United States, Ben Shapiro, Charlie Kirk once again tried to raise the issue of censorship of Israel's critics.
Against the media on COVID, on lockdowns, on Ukraine, on the border, it's like maybe we should also ask a question. Is the media totally presenting the truth when it comes to Israel? Just a question, that maybe we shouldn't believe everything the media says, because I know I've been conditioned to ask a lot more critical questions over the last couple of years. So, Ben, some people would accuse Israel of wanting to ethnically cleanse. Some people in the Israeli government are saying, again, it's all over the place, right? You have opinions all over. In your opinion, what would a good outcome 5 years from now be, and how does one respond to the claims of ethnic cleansing?
Who killed him remains under investigation, but the trial of fear and intimidation is undeniable, even to the point that Netanyahu tried to deny any Israeli involvement. If you watch this interview.
Before I let you go, I want you to address one thing, and it's just the absurdity of it. Some of the internet rumors that somehow Israel is behind the Charlie Kirk murder, and I don't believe it for 1 second, but I want you to make a statement. It's so absurd.
That's insane. That's insane. Israel also changes the orbit of the moon. Israel pushes the sun. I mean, the whole thing it's not only insane. I think it's so absurd, so stupid, and so ridiculous. You can't believe that people are saying this. They just found the perpetrator. They'll get to the bottom of this, but they go, they have no limits. When you hate Jews, when you hate the Jewish state, you're willing to say anything and promote all these absurd rumors. And by the way, they're willing to kill us all the time. I mean, that's what they're doing. And over the centuries, when Jews, especially in the Middle Ages, the horrific Middle Ages, the worst things were said about Jews you couldn't possibly believe. We were poisoning the wells. We were drinking the blood of Christian children. You name it. I mean, these things, that continued actually up to the Holocaust. The Nazis said the same thing. We're carrying vermin. We're spreading disease. And people believed it, and every time they believed it, this was a prelude to a greater and greater massacre, culminating with the worst massacre of them all, the Holocaust. Well, since then, we've learned, when people spread these lies about us, prepare yourself for the assault. And, they're trying to delegitimize the state of Israel. Charlie Kirk said to me that, he wrote me this detailed letter, you have to fight the slander. These untruths, these vilifications have consequences. And he was right. But I'll tell you one thing. We're fighting on the battlefield against the terrorists and winning. And he was fighting on the battlefield of ideas. And I think he was winning. He was going to win. That's why they shot him. I hope they don't silence him. I don't think people will give in to these ridiculous lies.
No is a no. But when you go around and bring up Jews this and Jews that and say things are ridiculous, but you never said no, Netanyahu. Charlie Kirk's death is not just the end of a man's story. It's a window into immense pressure, money, power that shapes American politics behind closed doors. He began as a young conservative built by Zionist donors. But by the end, he was a man who rejected their money, defied their demands, and feared for his life. And this is why I tell Black Americans, this is not your fight.
Communities have been pushing the exact kind of hatred against whites that they claim to want people to stop using against them. Now, I don't like generalizations. Not every Jewish person believes that. But it is true, the Anti-Defamation League was part and parcel with Black Lives Matter. It is true that some of the largest financiers of left-wing, anti-white causes have been Jewish Americans. They went all in on woke, and it wasn't just ADL. It was some of the top Jewish organizations in the country that have done that. In fact, we have seen this with the recent retreat of Jewish donations that are no longer going to be administered to colleges, right? Mark Rowan, Leon Copperman. Can we get that full list? It's very powerful. The part of the, so that's totally true. And by the way, Tucker Carlson reinforces this. So I'm going to it was quite a day on the internet. Tucker Carlson was interviewing Candace Owens. We have Candace Owens coming up next hour. And Tucker Carlson mentions that Jewish Americans have primarily been financing cultural Marxist ideas. We said this, by the way, last week, and people came after us.
We were on top of it.
We actually said it in a different way. We said, I'm glad that Jewish Americans are reconsidering their financing of cultural Marxism. And people misunderstood it intentionally and slandered us as being anti-Semites. But listen to this. Tucker Carlson is completely correct by saying this, that the philosophical foundation of anti-whiteness has been largely financed by Jewish donors in the country.
Do not fall for what they're trying to tell you, black people. They want to drag us into something that has nothing to do with us. Stay out of it. Do not let the left drag us into this. This report tells it all. Black America must be quiet and sit back and let this work out. The Bible explains to us there is wickedness in high places. But we're not paying attention, Black America. Whether you like Charlie Kirk or not, one fact is clear. Charlie Kirk left this earth in a shadow of forces that reach far beyond Turning Point USA, forces that are still shaping the future of America. What Charlie Kirk was doing, brothers and sisters, he was exposing the connection of Jewish money to the left. He was exposing them. They were controlling both sides. According to the report, Kirk was upset with their control over Trump. And he was also exposing their connection to the left and how these people were getting so much money. Have you ever wondered, black people, how are these leaders becoming millionaires? I don't have to name them. Y'all know who they are. How are they traveling around the world with no job? Who is funding them? Kirk was pulling the layers off the onion, and they couldn't have it. They couldn't have it. Let's open our eyes, brothers and sisters, and let's reason with logic, not with emotions. They always use black folks to get emotional about something. This is not your fight. Stay out of it. We're in a point in the history of America that we need to turn to our spirituality. I'm going to say this right now. Black people, we need to turn to our spirituality. Don't let them drag you into this fight. And if you see the interview of Netanyahu, he didn't deny it. He didn't deny it. Let's keep our eyes open, people. Let's stay bladed. Don't post frivolous information, foolish information. Something is big going on right now, and we need to be focused and prayed up and protected. Thank you for watching. This is the Publisher's Desk. This is Black Westchester Magazine, blackwestchester.com. And as always, stay safe, stay blessed, and stay blacktastic. Peace.
Tired of the same emotional politics that lead nowhere. Emotional Politics, Logical Failure by Damon K. Jones is the book Black America needs right now. It exposes the lies, challenges the gatekeepers, and calls for real strategy, not just symbolism. Power starts with truth. On sale, now, and available in audiobook on Amazon.
Tolerance is for Cowards by Damon K. Jones. This book is not anti-police, it's pro-community. Discover how the extended policing strategy empowers you to demand real public safety, justice, and accountability from your local police department. Because the Black community deserves good policing. On sale now on Amazon and Audible. Discover Jesus and Divine Black Masculinity by Damon K. Jones. This a bold blueprint to restore faith, manhood, and purpose in Black America. Because the Black community needs good Black men. Available now on Amazon. If you found this video informative, don't forget to like and share it with others who need to hear the truth. And for exclusive content and behind-the-scenes access, join the Black Westchester Magazine YouTube membership club today. Your support helps us keep independent Black media strong. Support independent Black media with style. Rock Black Westchester merch and represent the news with the Black point of view. Every purchase helps us speak truth to power.
This is the Publisher's Desk with Damon K. Jones, brought to you by Black Westchester Magazine, where life, culture, community, and faith meet truth, power, and purpose.